where the women's balcony was.
Yeah, I was waiting
But
for
even before that, you have to imagine that there were many, many more of these pews. It was very large. They've taken the essentials, like the details.
Squeezed it together.
Well, they didn't
Condensed
squeeze, they just, they condensed the benches. That is pretty much the way it was, but there was, I think, more space, or maybe Mrs. Ishak remembers, between the Bima Be'emsa and the Aron. All right. Okay, yeah, so pass this around. Yeah, it was very big. It was very big. I don't-
here, or you were here in the shul?
This is the
No.
old,
This is what was brought up from the old shul in old
You're talking about
McKeesport.
what you remember, you're talking about in McKeesport.
Yeah.
In McKeesport,
Okay.
okay. So then imagine a big balcony going around all that big
Everybody's
So it
area.
wasn't just in back, it was on the
Susan's
side
trying
as
to
well?
tell
on the sides as well. Now, Tante Rosa, Rose Prizan, sat near the eastern wall in a front seat in the women's section up there.
Fancy.
And she seemed to have also access to the row in back of her, because when I was about 6 years old, and I was sent around the shul, that's how I know where people sat, because my mother pointed me, give them greetings from your family for Yontiv and so on. So when I was sent to her, something I did annoy her, and she put me in the seat in back of her room. Okay, and going around the side, in a corner back there, was my mother's mother, Machotenista Jacobs, and her daughter, Mrs. Jacobs, and her daughters, one of whom was my aunt, our aunt. And she was also our landlady. We lived downstairs from her. Okay. In here, my mother's mother sat in the front row. The front row had, obviously a wooden, what would you call it?
A railing, a bit.
No, it wasn't a railing, it was a
Barrier,
barrier, banister, and then a rod going around, something like Elka's Synagogue, except higher, with portion curtains, and a woman could lift up the curtain to look down, or she could keep it down. My grandmother let me look down.
Peek.
She was good with that. In back of her sat Pearl Herskowitz, and next to her was Uncle Henry's wife and mother-in-law, the Heislers, Heisler women.
It's
sat in the
Jean
second
Herskowitz.
row.
He knows Jean.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we have Faye here.
No, he went to get Jean, she's outside.
Oh, so I should tell her. Well, anyway, in back of them, in back of Pearl Herskowitz and Mrs. Heisler and Flora Heisler Herskowitz, sat my mother. And then in a corner way over there was the Weiss family from the farm. Hyman Weiss and, Regina. Regina and her daughters. All right, those are the women. Down here, there were times, this was up higher. There were stairs. 2 or 3 stairs to get up to the bima. And our grandfather at times was a gabbai. And one of his roles was when they bid for aliyot, to come, Torah, honors related to the reading of the Torah.
They would auction off some of the aliyot.
Exactly. And I don't know that he was the auctioneer, I don't remember, but there was a huge abacus. I don't know if such an abacus on which he used it to keep track of the amounts.
The pledges.
At one time, anyway, that was, and I sat on the lower steps and watched him. The men in the family sat over on this side, Herskowitz men. But I don't know if they sat like in this row or the row further over.
Did they tend to come every week or just special?
No, I'm talking Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Okay? our grandfather came every day, yes. Not just every week. The women only on holidays, but not just Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. My grandmother, anyway, my mother's mother came on Sukkot and Pesach and so on.
Okay.
And then I had even more fun coming down on Simchas Torah, downstairs and upstairs. As a child, I found it amazing point of view to be downstairs and someone under somebody's talus, and then run upstairs, which was much higher, and looking down like a fly on the ceiling or something, or like opera seats where you get the whole view and the whole panorama.
Excuse me, I'm gonna add something. Children are allowed in either the men or the women's section. A little boy can be in the women's section, a little girl can be in the men's section.
Right.
Anyone up to bar or bat mitzvah age.
Well, I
Kind
didn't
of,
go
but
that
that's
wrong.
kind
It
of-
was like
usually
6
it's
or
around,
7.
usually kind of is like,
Yeah, it's 6 or 7 at that ended.
Yes.
But until
yeah,
then,
but
I
maybe
had
eight, maybe eight, you know, but whatever, it's about, yeah. Especially boys in the women's section goes usually longer than girls in the men's section. Did I
Actually,
see?
either I
Did I
was
see?
oblivious, or I have no memory of
Okay, but
that.
I'm saying is what I see today.
What you see today, okay, I'm talking about
Depends
Third
on the
Street
school,
Shul, it
Yes,
was the
that's
corner of Third and
Yes,
Market.
yeah, right, we're in a pretty liberal.
Okay, thank
Miss
you,
Bertha, right.
thank you for that indulgence and
Oh, that's
down memory lane.